and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I have a very special guest. Hi, Mom.
Hello.
This is my friend Mamsi, and she's going to be helping me with today's video. So for today's video, I'm doing my very first story time, and I thought of sharing something that happened in my life for the first time since it's the first story time. And Mamsi suggested that I share on my first racial encounter.
Yes.
And you're thinking, South Africa. You know, we both from South Africa, so this had to have happened in South Africa. No, it didn't. It did not happen in South Africa. It happened somewhere very far. And if you want to know where and what happened, then stay tuned. You ready, Mums?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, let's get into it, you guys. Okay, so for today's net, we're going to share on our first racial encounters. Okay,
Yes.
What have you encountered any like racial?
Oh my gosh, I've had a lot of racial encounters.
Yeah, Mom's is from the Free State.
I'm from the Free State. Sorry to anybody that lives in the Free State, but yeah, you know, sorry to all the good people in the Free State. But I've had a lot of racial.
All the good white people.
White people in the Free State. But I've had a lot of racial encounters.
Yeah,
coming from the Free State, I got a lot of stories. So,
I only have one.
Really?
Yeah.
In your whole life?
In my entire life,
Wow.
I've only ever had one racial encounter, and this is like coming from a black South African woman.
Yo, that's great.
That's great, nah?
That is great.
Yeah, so I've only ever had one racial encounter, and it did not happen in South Africa. It happened while I was living in South Korea.
Sure.
Yeah, and it happened many years ago. So this was, I think, about 5. Actually, it might be 7 years ago because it happened in like 2013. All the way in 2013. I had been in South Korea for a couple of years. I think I'd been there for 2 or 3 years at that time, and I was living my best life. I was really living my best life.
Yeah, you really were living. She was really living her best life, eh? Like this girl, she enjoyed her time in South Korea.
I really did. Yeah. I felt like the most beautiful black girl in the world. I lived in a small town, and so I was the first black person a lot of people met in that small town, and they just treated me like gold, honestly. And I know that a lot of black people in South Korea have really hectic stories about racial encounters. For me, like prior to 2013, I had no bad things to say about South Korean people in terms of racial interaction. Because I had the little like you touch your hands, touch your hair to like because they'd never seen that, but it was never anything that I felt like was ill intent towards me. Until one day, this lady came up to me.
Yeah.
I'm standing at the bus stop with friends. I started going to a new church. It was my first Sunday at that church. And I had felt the Holy Spirit be like, girl, this is where I'm calling you. Like, this is the church you're going to be a part of. And so I'm so excited. It's a new season, a new start. The last thing I expected that day was for a woman to come behind me and do what that woman did. So he's standing at a bus stop now. We're waiting for the bus to come. And actually, you know what? Why is it so, like, it's starting to feel like...
Shame it doesn't feel like the pain is fresh.
It feels like it happened yesterday.
It happened yesterday. Yeah. Those things traumatize you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was traumatized for a little while after that happened. So yeah, I'm standing at the bus stop with these friends. You know, we're waiting for the bus. It's after church. I'm on a high. I'm like, God is so good. The Holy Spirit is so good. He's just told me clear as day that this is the church I want you to be at. So I'm so excited. I'm waiting for the bus. This lady, a South Korean lady, she comes behind me and she starts speaking in Korean. Yeah, starts speaking in Korean. I don't understand what she's saying, but I can feel from the people around me because now they start like shifting, like people start acting weird, and I'm thinking, okay, what's happening there? But I'm not thinking it's directed at me. And then she comes closer, like she stands right behind me, and starts shouting. Ne? And then one of the Korean girls was like, oh, Masande, let's move. Ne? But I'm just like, I don't know what's happening, and I want to know what's happening. Why are we moving? She comes right behind me and starts kicking me, you guys. The lady starts kicking me.
Yay.
She starts like kicking me, and she starts yelling things like, go back to your country. What are you doing in our country?
I was about to say, I wonder what she was saying to you. So that's what she was saying.
That's what she was saying.
Wow.
She was like, go back to your country. What are you doing? Why are you in our country? We don't want you here. And So at that time, I had been taking Korean lessons. So my Korean was not fluent. It's not fluent, but I could pick up on some words. And also, I did ask the people around me, like, what was she saying?
And they actually told you exactly what she was saying.
Yeah, they told me exactly what she was saying, because I could tell that, firstly, she kicked me. So I knew that stuff was up. And secondly, she was shouting and like pointing. So I knew that it wasn't a good thing that she was saying. So they had no choice, I feel like, but to tell me exactly what the lady was saying. So she was saying, oh, go back to your country. Why are you here? We don't need you in our country. And it was, I remember everybody around me, like, being like, they didn't know what to do. I felt like they didn't know what to say. They didn't know what to do. Because maybe they had also experienced that for the first time. And it was me and Jess were the only foreigners and everybody else was Korean.
I was actually about to ask you, was it just... so you and Jess were the only people that were black and white.
We were the only black and white, you know. And obviously I feel like she's gonna target the chocolates, you know. She'll target the chocolate and leave you know the pretty white girl. And so that happened, and then we got onto the bus and we're supposed to go for lunch. But obviously I'm not gonna go and have lunch and act like everything is okay when I was just attacked for being black. Essentially. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna get onto the bus and I'm just gonna go home. So I told them, okay guys, I'm sorry, I can't join the party, I'm going home. So I left and I went home, and for the first time in my life I cried myself to sleep.
Oh my gosh. So you actually cried yourself to sleep? Oh, I didn't know that part. Did you tell me that part?
I think I did.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I cried.
What were the thoughts that were going through your head? Like, what made you... Was it the actual encounter? What was making you cry yourself to sleep? Was it...
I think, you know what, from the encounter to my house, it was a 2-hour commute. Right? And so for those 2 hours, I completely blocked it out, because I was on the bus, and then I had to be on the train, then I had to be on a intercity bus home. And this whole time I'm with other Korean people. And I can't project now what that lady did to these people. But I remember anytime in those 2 hours a Korean would come close to me, I would kind of like shrink, right? Sure. But I tried to block out the entire experience until I got home. So when I got home, that's when I actually started to really think about what had happened. And that's when I started crying, because I was just like, I can't believe another human kicked me, started screaming racial slurs at me because I was black, you know. And it's growing up in South Africa, you expect that to happen to you, but it had never happened. I'd never had any kind of racial like encounter with someone, and so when that happened, it felt so traumatic. I felt so exposed. And I think I also didn't feel protected, maybe by the people that were around me, but I also didn't know how they were supposed to react in that situation. And also those people like me for the first time, so I don't know.
They were people this for the first time.
So I cried because I was just like, I couldn't believe that this had happened to me, you know. And I felt like, I'm such a nice person. I'm always trying to, you know, to be the best for people, so that their first encounters with black people can be like, oh, I remember that there's a nice black girl, you know, black people aren't as they are portrayed, you know. I was very intentional with that, and so to have that then thrown back at my face was very hurtful. And I cried myself to sleep, and I think for that whole week after that, I literally just went to school and back, like work and back. I didn't want to interact with any Koreans that I didn't know, because I was just so scared of that happening again.
Oh, that is quite hectic.
So that was my first time dealing with race. And after that, Shem, I never had anything like that ever happen again. So I definitely know that it was demonically charged, because a lot happened as well after that. Like, I really felt God like speak to me specifically about that encounter and why it had happened. So
you should tell me. So God spoke to you about why the specific event happened. You should tell me what the reason for that was.
I'll tell you guys another time.
Yes, please do.
It was very clear why it had happened. And the years after that actually proved exactly what the Holy Spirit had told me about why that happened. So what about you?
So my racial encounters were not as... They didn't have a spiritual... I don't think they had a spiritual meaning at all like yours. What was my first... Oh no, I think for me, honestly, I have multiple racial encounters. But I wouldn't say that I have a whole like story Like there isn't like a big story around my racial encounter, apart from the fact that there was this guy that I really liked in high school, guys.
Yeah.
Like an Afrikaans guy that I really like. I really felt like we vibed, you know. I honestly really think that I felt like he liked me too. And then yeah. But then I think for the first time I went outside. Like, so we'd go for breaks, so we'd talk a lot in class. And then when we went outside, then he would just like ignore me. And then the one time he was with his friends, and then he just came to me and he called me the K word. And I think for me, so I think for me that was my story. Like it was just literally, yeah.
Wait, so in the classroom, you guys were vibing, you were friends.
We were friends. He used to sit in front of me. We shared music. We talked.
And there were other people around.
There were other people around in the classroom. But then I think those people were not like his close friends, exactly. But then as soon as we would go outside in its break, and I don't actually, honestly, who knows what was going on through his head.
Yeah.
But I just know that when it was break time, he would just like act like, who is this black girl? You know? Who is this black girl? You know? And then I think for me, I would say that it was just maybe it was actually just the first time that I was called the K word, you know?
To your face.
To my face. Have you ever been called the K word to your face? Well.
And the K word for us is the N word for Americans.
Exactly, for Americans, exactly. Yeah. So that was the K word for me. And yeah, it was quite because I had a lot of racial encounters. Just being in my school was just traumatic generally. But I think it was the first time that somebody in my face called me the K word, someone that I thought was my friend.
How did you respond?
I was just in shock. Like, I couldn't believe it, you know? And also, especially because of the fact that I thought he was my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was my friend. So, yeah, that's my story.
Oh, wow. And then what happened after that, like, back in the classroom?
No, I think that was actually the first time it's changed something in our friendship. So, of course it changed something in our friendship. Then yeah, like eventually our friendship just didn't exist anymore.
Didn't exist.
Yeah,
until you guys finished.
No, until he moved to schools actually. Eventually he moved to schools. Yeah, so that's my.
So that boy is out there watching.
He is watching. You're out there watching, and you call. No, actually, I don't know if I actually have stalked him. No, yeah, he's grown up to be
a nice man.
No. That's no.
Not a typical
Free State Free State shame. Sorry to all the good Free State guys.
We love white people.
We actually do love white people from the Free State, but he really has grown up. The things I've seen on his post. Yeah. But that's where it started. It started in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, but that's South Africa for you.
Yeah.
We have all kinds of people.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Anyways, so that's my story.
That's your story, and you're sticking with it.
Yes.
Yep. All right, you guys. So that is the end of our story time of us sharing our first racial experiences. This video is not meant to like be an attack on any race. Yeah. It's just us sharing our stories, and they just happen to include other races. But yeah, so if you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to turn on your notification bells, and please don't forget to subscribe. How was that for a first story time?
No, it was good. I enjoyed it. And also, I just can have a disclaimer. The disclaimer is I personally really love Afrikaans people. Masandra really loves Korean people. Like what she was saying, it's really not meant to attack anyone. We love you. Yeah, we love everybody. Yeah, like what she was saying, it's our experiences. So yeah.
100.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So we'll catch you guys in the next video. Until then, stay blessed.
Okay.
Bye.